topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Our show has been running for 12 years now, and it's amazing how we keep getting new people every week who have found our show, who've had friends or family members who've told you about our show. And we appreciate you. We appreciate all the letters we get. Our first experts, it's kind of a tough way to find an expert because you see so much advertising out there, whether it's on buses or signs, TV, because we want to bring you the best, the top of the top. And we have to really research that. We have, in my mind, the finest personal injury attorneys in the state of Florida. If you're in an auto accident, slip and fall, a dog bite, you need to make sure you listen to today's show. Write this phone number down because you never know when you're going to be in an auto accident. Let me introduce you to the ladies of the law firm of Zervos and Calta. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Steve.
Hi, Steve. Good morning and happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday. So glad to have you all on the show with us. We are talking personal injury today, but because we have so many new people tuning in every week, tell people about yourself and about the law firm.
Well, my name's Angela Zervos, and I have been practicing law since January of '97. Started out doing criminal defense work, where I got a lot of courtroom experience, and then transitioned into the civil world and personal injury, specifically in the summer of 1998, and been doing it exclusively. I was a partner previously at a law firm called Yanchuk, Berman, Wadley, and Zervos, and then decided to branch out on my own with my amazing partner, Lauren, and we've been on our own boutique law firm, although we serve the entire state of Florida since early 2017. Zervos and Calta, of course, is the name of the firm.
And I have been practicing law since 1992. I started in New York at the Kings County District Attorney's Office. After fulfilling my commitment there, I moved to Florida, took the bar, and have been doing personal injury plaintiff's work since 1995. So between Angela and I, there's over 50 years experience. I worked at 2 other firms before joining Angela's prior firm. That's where we met, although we knew each other before then. And we started working together. And in late 2016, we looked at each other and said, "You ready?" And said, "I'm all in." And we took the plunge, and we love what we do and no regrets at all.
It's very obvious. Very obvious. You know, a lot of people, when they think personal injury, they think auto accidents. But there is so much more to injury law than just auto accidents. Tell people all the areas that you cover.
Well, there's a bunch of them. motor vehicle accidents, motorcycle accidents, trucking accidents, if you're a pedestrian, if you're on a bicycle, a slip and fall, a trip and fall, where a premise owner didn't make sure that the area was safe, that it was a dangerous condition. Dog bite cases, although I will caution that a majority of the insurance policies that we've come across through the years exclude dog bite cases.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they exclude injuries from animals or certain breeds of animals. So it would be pit bulls, shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans. Although I don't know about you, but I've met some pretty vicious Chihuahuas through the years.
Yeah.
They're not excluded. So
And there's also medical malpractice. Those cases are rather difficult, and probably out of every 100 that calls that we get for medical malpractice, there might be 2 or 3 that are viable or worth looking into because the standards are very difficult to meet. There's nursing home abuse, nursing home negligence. There's products liability, which includes pharmaceuticals. We recently took an interesting case where a client had purchased a cooler, a big cooler to keep your drinks cold. And I won't say the name of the product, but it had, the client had left some liquid in it, a juice of some sort, which had fermented. It had been in his car. And when he went to open it, the pressure had built up so substantially that the lid basically shot out at the speed of
Oh my gosh.
the lid blew off at a speed equivalent to a bullet. And it was metal, and it struck him in the eye, and he's now blind. So that is a case that we have undertaken against the store that sold it. And we've alleged that there was insufficient warnings on the label. And as a result of that, a young man in his 40s is now blind. So that's another example of a case that some people wouldn't think about when they're talking about personal injury.
I was thinking about you both the other day. Somebody was, I guess, jumped in the Walmart shopping center parking lot, was hurt really bad. Can you sue Walmart for not having, I'm sure they had cameras out there, but can you sue a company like Walmart if you get accosted in their parking lot?
So that would be a negligent security case, that they didn't make sure that the area was safe. And those are traditionally, those have been more difficult to prove than your normal motor vehicle accidents, trip and fall, slip and fall. You would have to prove that they somehow knew that it was dangerous, that they didn't have enough lighting, or they didn't have enough security, or they didn't take enough safety precautions. But it became even more difficult after March of this past year, when the new House Bill 837 was put into law, and they now allow the defense to put the actual assailant or the violent person on the verdict form, which never was the case. So now the finger pointing is at the person who attacked you versus the Walmart or the store that failed to provide for a safe parking lot for you. And it's a huge red herring in terms of liability and in terms of keeping the focus away from what the store did or didn't do to make sure its patrons that it invites in to come spend money at their store to their disregard for their safety.
We just got a text from a listener. Love the show. They want to know, what is the number one thing on a auto insurance policy that we should make sure that we have so that we're covered properly?
Well, Florida is one of the most, I'll tell you, one of the most dangerous places to be driving a car. And the reason,
No kidding.
in addition to the, population that's growing exponentially, Florida is like one of, I believe, 6 of the 48 continental states that does not require liability coverage. So that liability coverage is what would protect you if you're an innocent driver and you are injured as a result of somebody's carelessness or recklessness, or just basically neglect in the way that they're operating their vehicle. So let me give you, for instance, you're driving and you get rear-ended by somebody who's just speeding, cutting people in and out of lanes, and they rear-end you and you get hurt. And you run up medical bills that you can't afford to pay, you lose time from work, you've got some sort of a permanent injury as a result, and your life is forever changed. You want to make a claim for liability coverage under that other person's insurance policy, and they don't have any because it's not required in Florida. So 42 other states in the United States, continental, obviously US, I think that excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Those states, the rest of the states require liability. Like New York requires 50,000. So, you know that if you're going to get hit in New York, the driver at least has 50,000. So in Florida, you have no idea. There's so many clients that come to us and the person that caused the accident has no coverage for them. So we always tell clients, obviously, buy what you can afford, but it's important for you to have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. It's just as important as having health insurance, because the chances of you getting into an accident in the state of Florida are incredibly high, and they're relatively high that you're going to get hit by somebody without coverage or without enough coverage. And so uninsured motorist steps in and would pay you for your injuries, even though it's your own company, would basically step in the shoes of the at-fault driver. And so we urge our clients, if they can afford it, to buy it. But the insurance companies and their agents, I will tell you, will discourage you from buying it. You don't need it, they'll say. You don't have to have that. It's just going to raise your premiums. But, sometimes it's $250 for 6 months of coverage to get you 10 or 25,000 in uninsured motorists. So it's worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
very important. Yeah.
And when you think about the risk of getting on the road in Florida, Steve, not only like Angela said that, people are moving here exponentially, but now we're one of the biggest tourist states in the world, right? We allow children, and I say children respectfully, but 15-year-olds with a permit, 16-year-olds with a license to drive, and there's no age cap on driving. So you have people from the age of 15 all the way up to the age of 90, whatever, whose license hasn't been taken away yet, who are driving, who are slow on reflexes, or from the younger stage, who are inexperienced. And it just makes for a very dangerous place to drive.
We have the no fault insurance. Now, when I was in an auto accident, I had said it's not my fault, but that's not. Explain to people about no fault.
The no-fault insurance is also known as personal injury protection benefits, and that is required in the state of Florida. That would usually provide, I'd say 90% of the time, provide $10,000 in medical bill coverage for you or somebody in your car, regardless of whose fault it is. So if you were to get into an accident and it was a one-car collision, you lost control of your vehicle, went off the roadway and got hurt, or you hit somebody, it was your fault, or somebody hit you and it's not your fault, the law's like, listen, we're going to make sure that you have at least $10,000 in coverage. Lauren and I have discussed this, and we've debated it as to whether or not the legislature intended to have that coverage mandatory to actually protect us, or was it designed to protect the hospitals that are treating you, to make sure that they get paid. So regardless of the intent, anybody who has a policy of auto insurance in Florida has that $10,000 in no fault, which protects you. But it goes quick, Steve. I mean, one visit to the ER and one CAT scan. Yeah. I mean, that $10,000, it's gone.
If you miss work as a result of a auto accident and you've lost wages, can those wages be recovered?
Absolutely. If you miss work as a result of injury sustained in an accident, you were talking about no fault. The no fault policy, or the portion of your insurance policy for PIP benefits, pays 60% of your wages that you've missed as a result of injuries sustained in an accident. The other 40%, or if there's not enough after the ER, like Angela said, after one CAT scan and an ER visit, that exhausts your $10,000 in benefits, then it's something that we look to recover either from the bodily injury coverage from the person that hit you, which is, we've already discussed, is not required here in Florida. So most people don't have it. Or from your uninsured motorist coverage, we can get that compensated. So again, going back, it's all circular. is the most important coverage you can have to protect yourself. So yes.
Okay, that's good to know. But like Angela said, that 10,000 doesn't last very long,
No,
especially when if you have to go to the emergency room and you look at $2,000 for steri strips.
yeah.
And I'm being a little facetious, but
Well, yeah,
Really?
$100 for a Tylenol. $100 for a Tylenol. Yeah.
so let me take people, because I'm using auto accidents, and I know there's so many different areas, but the chance, like you said, someone being in an auto accident in the state of Florida is probably higher here than any other state. So I want to kind of concentrate on auto accidents. What does a person do the first time they've been in an auto accident? It just seems like the first thing they should do is contact a law firm like yours.
Well, I mean, are you talking about after you leave the accident scene or when you're at the accident?
Yes, after.
Right. So
Because I want it, because the way you charge, which I want to get into, I mean, a person should definitely contact an attorney.
and I would agree with that in this under circumstances where somebody's actually injured. I mean, there's a lot of accidents where
Right.
people aren't injured, and obviously, we tell our clients all the time when they come and they sign up with us, we say, listen, you may feel 100% better in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and that would be the best case scenario for you, because honestly, there's not enough money in the world I think that anybody would take if they knew that it came at the cost of living in pain for the rest of their life. So if I told you, Steve, I'll give you $5 million today, but you have to suffer in chronic pain every day for the rest of your life, you'd probably tell me, no, not worth it. But for people who are injured, it is a wise decision to contact an attorney. Consultations are free with us. And basically, we don't get paid until we resolve the case with a settlement or a trial verdict. So it's called a contingency fee. It's the only area in the law where you don't pay up front. You don't get our billing statement every month from the attorney. We get paid when the case is over, if there is a recovery, and it's a percentage. And it's usually a third if the case doesn't require any sort of litigation in the courtroom. But if it does require litigation, then the fee goes to 40%. But yeah, definitely really important to at least meet with an attorney. Lauren and I love to meet new people. Even if they come in and they just have questions, there's not a lot of attorneys that will do that, or take a phone call and just spend 15 to 30 minutes on the phone with them. There's not a lot of attorneys that would do that unless they thought, it was a huge case for them. Lauren and I just love to make the connections and be able to help people who don't have the kind of knowledge that we do, and especially in a time of need for them.
Well, you read my mind when you were saying about injuries kind of creeping back up on us later on. Is there a statute of limitations for an automobile accident?
There is. It used to be before March of this year, it was 4 years. from the date of accident. Ever since March of this year, it's now anything that occurred after March 24th would be 2 years.
Oh, they lessened it.
They lessened it. They sure did.
Well, because there are people that don't feel like they're hurt after an accident. And then a week or 2 weeks later, all of a sudden that low back pain or that neck, creeps up on them. And it does happen.
It happens a lot more often than you think, and that's why we encourage people to go to an urgent care or their primary as soon as it does creep up, if it's a delayed onset of symptoms, because you want to be able to document it as close to the date of accident as you possibly can, so that the insurance companies don't get out of it by saying, yeah, you waited 6 months. What happened to you in that 6-month period that caused the back pain? It couldn't have been the accident. So you want to make it as close to the date of accident as you possibly can, but certainly at the very beginning of the onset of symptoms.
We just got another text from Robert. Enjoying the show. Is it true that insurance companies hire private investigators to follow people that file a personal injury claim? Is that true?
I'll take that one.
That's Angela's favorite.
They've got millions of dollars, and so
right.
Oftentimes, and they don't care about the money. They'll spend more money defending the case rather than and to prove their point than if they were to settle out with us. But we do see that a lot. Usually when a case enters the litigation arena, meaning once a lawsuit is filed, but we have seen it in cases before a lawsuit is filed where the insurance company is suspicious about somebody. I actually had a case in 2009 where a private investigator for a major insurance company went knocking on my client's neighbor's door because they couldn't find him. And it turned out that he was in Grand Cayman. And this private investigator got the okay from the insurance company, bought a ticket, flew down to Grand Cayman, and harassed my clients, basically, found them on the beach, walking on the beach where they went to get away, and approached them and pretended that he was just some sort of tourist there, and asked them, where were they going to be that night, what was going on the island, what was there to do. And sure enough, he showed up where they were, which was basically just at like a bonfire, and they were just sitting there, and he was filming them the entire time. So yeah, wow. These investigators, you don't even see them, Steve, because they've got high-tech cameras that look like cell phones. They'll park down the street. You'll pull out of your driveway. You won't even know you're being followed. They'll follow you into the grocery store. They'll follow you while you're driving. Watch how you're turning your neck. If you're turning your neck to look behind you into your blind spot, they'll videotape all of that. It's insane what they're capable of doing and how far they'll go to prove you're not hurt.
Well, I can't believe how fast this show goes, but it does. And I got to tell you, one of the things I love about your firm, that's all you do is personal injury. I mean, you don't have a shingle up there that says bankruptcy law, criminal law, estate planning. You concentrate in one area. And over my 12 years with Ask the Experts, I have found out the firms that concentrate in one area are always the better firms. So I wanted to say that to you. Let's give everybody your phone number and your website address.
727-937-3171. Zervos Injury Law.
And your website?
www.zervosinjurylaw.com.
I want to tell people, I want you to write this number down, because we have learned over the years, someone might be in an automobile accident and go, what was that attorney's name? Why didn't I write it down? Write this phone number down. Keep this number, because either you, a family member, friends might be involved. in an injury, whether it's an auto accident or slip and fall. Again, the number is 727-937-3171. Zervis and Culta. Ladies, thank you so much. They're with us twice every month, and they'll be back again in about 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good week.
Thanks, ladies.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You too. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we have our next expert. We'll be right back.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. We love those ladies. When it comes to personal injury, we've gotten such great feedback. Our next expert, it's tax time. But sometimes we get into some problems. We get behind on our taxes. And you've got to have somebody who is knowledgeable in this area representing you. We have got the finest tax relief attorney in Florida. In fact, when it comes to taxes, it could be the whole entire United States. We were able to find attorney Kevin Benjamin, and he should be there right now. There he is.
Hello.
Oh, are you in your office today?
Yeah, I'm in the office today. Yeah.
A lot of times we catch Kevin at home. Kevin, I was just telling people that, people get in trouble. And it doesn't make them a bad person. But when you try to go up against the government yourself, then that is a problem. And we are so lucky to have Kevin Benjamin with Noble Tax Relief as our expert. We're going to be talking tax relief, tax resolution today. And I got to tell you, I want you to make sure you write Kevin's phone number down. If you're watching us on TV, we are scrolling that, and we will also be giving out his phone number during the show. Kevin, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Bro, I love doing the show with you. It always goes by so fast.
Sure.
So let's tell everybody who you are, first of all.
Kevin Benjamin. I'm an attorney. I've been practicing law for over 30 years. Been helping people get out of debt and solving tax problems for decades. And my background initially is in bankruptcy law, where a lot of times people had tax issues. A lot of times they filed for different reasons, and you still had to resolve the tax issues with the IRS because sometimes they're not dischargeable, though sometimes they are. So sometimes you could get rid of them in bankruptcy, or we started with clients who were bankrupt but with non-dischargeable tax debt, helping them solve tax problems with the IRS through like offering compromises, installment agreements, or stopping collection activity by what's called currently non-collectible and evading penalties and stuff like that. So we found out when we were doing that the analysis and how you represent somebody before the IRS is very similar in bankruptcy with what they call the means test, which is really resolving a tax issue is really an exercise in cash flows, money in, money out, expenses. Is the expense too much? There's IRS standards, same in bankruptcy, same in tax resolution, different standard numbers, but it's really a matter of negotiating your budget, showing what you can afford or cannot afford. And what a lot of people don't understand is if you cannot afford to make a payment, we can help you stop collection activity with the IRS, where they'll stop collecting, at least for a certain time period. It's called currently not collectible. So our background started in law, and we got into tax resolution because a lot of people have a lot of IRS problems, especially the last couple of years where the government is putting billions of dollars to beefing up the IRS. This is a huge area right now. And starting around March of 2023, the IRS started really the collection activity again. It kind of slowed down during COVID, but now they're at it, and they got money behind them. They got people, and they are looking for your assets, and they're looking for you. So you need help.
You know, Kevin, we had a lot of people after your last show, the one in South Florida, for some reason, that wanted to know, with all these new agents they're bringing on, you know, the ones who are able to carry a gun now, are they tougher now? Or, you know, they actually want to know if, I guess, because the government's saying they want to go after people who make a lot of money, who have not been paying their fair share. A lot of the people want to know, is that, first of all, really true? And are they going after, say, middle income people?
They're going after everybody. First of all, when they say high net worth, what does the IRS define?
Yeah, right.
100 grand, it could be high net worth.
Yes.
You know, so or self-employed. You got assets, they're going after you. Okay. Self-employed people, they're looked at more because there's more things that are going on, or people controlling payroll taxes and with the companies. Or we handle people, individual people with tax problems, also the company ones too. So we do all kinds, but a lot of them is personal. So yeah, they're going after you. They got the money. Now there's pros and cons. I mean, yeah, they're beefed up, they're ready to go, but they hired a lot more agents and revenue officers. So a lot of them are new, which they don't always know what they're doing, so to speak, which could be good or bad, depending on your situation or which way they're analyzing your case. It's very difficult to even get in touch with the IRS. And if not that people want to talk to the IRS, so a lot of people, when they got tax problems, don't even open their mail. But if the ones that do, you find out you're on hold, and it's really no different than us. There is sometimes a third-party service we could use to get in there faster, but oftentimes we're still on hold as well. And the thing is, if we're on hold and we're talking to, or maybe you're in the collection activity, or maybe you have a revenue officer, and tax resolution is not a matter of just, oh, I'm a lawyer or a professional tax negotiator, and I just you anything. It's the Internal Revenue Manual. Okay, in bankruptcy, it's the bankruptcy code. Now it's the Internal Revenue Manual. That's your playbook. Now it's huge, of course, and there's different sections to it, and you could apply different things. And it's very much like being a lawyer, where you're advocating for your client. And now it's really IRS representation is really what it is. We could also go before the U.S. tax court for people, but getting back to your question. So basically, if you're on the phone, even with them, they're not always right just because they're someone with the IRS. We know the Internal Revenue Manual. We know the code. We know what's going on, or we know a gray area, or we may think we have a solid position and we don't like what they said. So sometimes the answer is just hanging up, not click goes the phone, but getting off the phone and just calling back and getting in the queue and getting another agent. And sometimes it's like, oh, they see your point. So there's sometimes it's not magic. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting the right person on the phone. But then once you get that person, we got to figure out what's our game plan. Every client is different. Everyone's got a tax problem. That's a general statement, right? But what is your situation? What's your resolution? There's 3 steps, basically. There's the analysis step, where we find out all the information about you, maybe get a tax transcript from the IRS to see what they're saying about you. Are you in collections? Are you about to be in collections? Are they about to leave you? Are you missing tax returns? What's going on? What are the facts? Just like being a lawyer, what's the facts of the case, right? Then compliance. Are you missing some returns? Let's get you in compliance. Maybe you have your own CPA or accounting firm. We'll work with them, or we have people. Let's get you in compliance, okay? Or did the IRS file returns for you? which you don't want, because they're not
Yeah.
looking out for your best things. So we want to get you analyzed in compliance. Then, based upon the facts, we do what's called a collection information sheet. That's the same thing the IRS looks at. So to look at your financial ability, assets, liabilities, expenses, where we can massage things. What is the IRS going to look at? How are they going to view this, right? And then we got to analyze you for the different solutions. For example, offer and compromise, which is basically a settlement with the IRS for a lump sum, or sometimes a few payments on it. What they call an installment agreement, which maybe you go 72 months. They have a partial pay installment agreement also. And you got to compare those to what are your option or options, because you may have more than one, and the IRS is looking at the same thing. Everyone wants to settle cheap. Oh, here's an offer and compromise, right?
Yes.
Maybe 25, 30% get through. But then again, a lot of those are people doing it the wrong way or with these BS companies or something like that. So it's really higher if you have a professional. Because first of all, a proper professional is not going to make an offer and compromise if you don't qualify for one, right? Or if you do, you still got to say, okay, qualify for offer and compromise, but what about the installment agreement? Because the IRS is looking at both. How can they get more money for the government? So they look at both all the options. And then if we're going with option A, offer and compromise, X dollars, we have to be able to support our position, just like in court, right? Of why that's the best deal for the government, instead of taking a little more money over 72 months, for example, which maybe the client has a problem, they can't be caught, there's costs of collection, there's costs of monitoring, all that kind of stuff. So is it better for the government to take the offer and compromise? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But also then there's the partial pay installment. And also there's different programs like, do you owe $25,000, $100,000, $500,000? Do we need documentation? Do we not need documentation? So there's all kinds of ways to analyze your case, but basically it's the three stages: analysis, compliance, and then putting together our plan. And the first thing we'll do, obviously, is send a power of attorney to the IRS. We represent you before the IRS. They will talk to us from now on. They're off your back. And usually that alone is a big sigh of relief for a lot of people, because they just want to have a professional on the case.
I think, Kevin, it's so important. What you bring to the table is you level the playing field.
Yeah.
People off the street do not want to get involved in negotiating themselves with the IRS. These people are very, very good at what they do. And for them not to have someone like yourself representing them, to me, they're going to lose. They have no chance at all. And they did it probably because they were trying to save a little bit of money. But they need somebody like yourself, because one of the things that's great about it is once they sign with you, they don't have to talk to the IRS anymore.
That's correct. That's correct. And you're right. The IRS is focused on collection, garnishing, leaving, forcing the issue. They're the biggest, most aggressive, most powerful collection agency in the world, at least the country, right? So you definitely don't want to take them on by yourself. That is for sure. They're not doing anything else but trying to collect. And they have all kinds of ways to do it and all kinds of power. So you need somebody yourself.
Yeah, because, I mean, like you said, they are the most powerful. And also, I think a lot of people don't realize there is something you can do for them. That hope is not out the window. And that's one of the reasons why that we've had so many people contact us about having a tax relief attorney on with us, like yourself. You can literally, I'm telling you, because I know Kevin, he can literally work this out with the IRS. You're still going to owe money, but you know what? You might not owe near as much. And you also do businesses too.
Right, absolutely. A lot of people, small businesses are the backbone of this country, right? So a lot of people are either self-employed or small companies, and they're doing, their work, and they're also the CEO, responsible party for payroll taxes, and there's all kinds of issues. So sometimes the company has the issue, but then there's also a responsible officer. So if the company doesn't pay, you have a trust fund penalty issue, and that could be severe. So obviously, if you're liable personally for the taxes and the company is still in business, obviously you want to make sure the company resolves that. So there's all kinds of ways to handle that as well. But yeah, because you got to look at everything. I mean, a lot of our clients are just maybe wage earners, and they just have a tax issue or something happened. So it's just a matter of streamlining, those 3 steps and which program we're going to do. But a lot of times people have both, and it's a matter of different options, a lot more tools in the shed for us even to try to help you with that. But yeah, we take care of everybody. We're not afraid of anything.
And Kevin, if it's a business, say, and especially like you just mentioned before about being self-employed, and you haven't filed your taxes, the IRS is going to go by what they have. So if you have write-offs or something, they don't have access to that.
That's right. Sometimes if you don't file your return, they're going to file the return for you. Okay. And
Yes.
They're not going to be looking at your write-offs, and they're not going to be trying to do the best for you. They're going to be taking your gross dollars on the best case for them, filing return. And that happens a lot, by the way. Okay. You get what's called a substitute for return. Okay. SFR. Okay. So, and then clients are like, oh my God, that's not all accurate. Of course it's not accurate, right? So we got to back up, get in compliance. I mean, they're putting you in compliance by filing the return, but that's not helping you out. So you can file amended returns with the CPA, resolve that. And then sometimes, depending on the situation, we can go maybe right to penalty abatements, depending on what's happening with that. And maybe it's all the client needs, maybe. Or you could sometimes, when you refile things and get into compliance before you go to the next level, we are using the filed returns by the client's representative of the returns on those numbers, and then resolving that. And that could be a huge difference alone.
Kevin, I did a lot of research because this is such an important area. And I noticed a lot of people who were complaining about companies that they went with is customer service. It's like once they signed, they never heard from them again. They'd have to keep leaving messages, and they're not going to have that with you.
That's true. That's a good point. We are more of a smaller boutique style firm, right? So most likely I'm probably going to be handling your case, or one of my partners, right? So we're not one of these national firms, call centers. I mean, you may call the office, and we may have someone answer the phone and ask you 5 or 6 questions just to get you prepared to meet with me, for example. Give me the basic story, just to save us some time before we do the initial interview with you. But when you actually get down to the client interview, it'll probably be me. You're talking to me because if I'm handling your case, I have to know what's going on because we're the ones submitting the offer, and I got to figure out the plan for you. So I may have some admin people or some other people helping maybe collect some documents for you, or a couple initial questions. But that's only just to get you on my calendar where I handle the case. So then there'll be different ways for you to get a hold of me, because we schedule calls. We can have status calls on your case. I'll give you a private number to text or call, as long as you don't abuse that, right? And then we have an online file system for secure messages. And then we have a Calendly link where people could just set up, you get on my calendar, you can see, instead of playing phone tag, you just get on my calendar and discuss whatever we need to discuss as things happen. Or I may be calling you or trying to contact you to say, hey, I got something happening now, and I got either need more information from you, or I have a counter offer from the IRS, or I was contacted asking for some more information. So we can get on the call and be be more streamlined. But yeah, we're not a national company where you call these national companies, you're getting somebody who's trying to get a commission, get you signed up. Only a CPA, attorney, or an enrolled agent who's someone with a license with the IRS. I'm sorry if my glasses are dark. Can represent you before the IRS. So if you're talking to a national company and you're talking to someone who's not a CPA or lawyer or an enrolled agent, someone who's not going to be handling your case, what's the point, right? You're just wasting your time. But then what happens is you start paying, and then you start calling, this person quit and this one's gone, and no one knows who's doing what because their job is just they're doing heavy volume to pay for all their advertising. We're simply, we're not the only people in the game. There's a lot of smaller firms, CPAs, lawyers, enrolled agents who know what they're doing and handle cases properly. We're not looking to do 100,000 cases a year or 100 cases a month or anything like that. We're looking to actually help you and get into your file. And it's not a turnkey operation. Everyone's situation is a little different. And one of our jobs is to find the nuggets in your case, so to speak, or the little different things that we could use to, help your offer and compromise or installment agreement or substance, maybe appeal if we have to, if we're turned down, to collection due process, or take you to the U.S. tax court if we have to help you. We'll fight for you. Okay. So, and we'll talk about each stage and, what each stage costs, and because it's not a one set fee for everybody either. Everyone's case is different. Somebody may only need this. Somebody may have a lot more complications. Sometimes the people have a lot more work to do, and some don't. So, I'm not saying we're the cheapest people in the game, but we're not the most expensive either. And it's just a matter of, we'll quote you what we think the value of our work is. And if you don't agree, that's understandable. That's fine. But we work for our money, and you have access to us, and you're not going to have to worry about that I'm gone because it's our firm.
Wouldn't you also say that when they file those letters from the IRS, they put them in that drawer, that they stay, they don't disappear?
Yeah, no, you put them in the drawer, they wave the magic wand, but it's still there. The wand doesn't work. So yeah, that's
exactly.
That's funny because even in the bankruptcy business, it's like, people come to file bankruptcy and they have all these bills unopened. Same thing. And with the IRS stuff, they have a lot of them. They have some letters from the IRS because they know something's going on, but then the rest they don't want to open. That's okay. Bring them to me, or you could scan them and put them in your file, whatever. Open them up. That's the whole point. Now you have us. You have IRS representation. You have a professional tax attorney handling your case. I want all the information. Scan it, open it, bring it to me, deliver it to me, put it in your file, upload it, whatever it is. I'll read it. We'll figure out the solution because it tells us what the IRS wants, or what they think they want, or what they think you have or don't have, or where they are on the stage. Oftentimes, for example, people are going to be levied or garnished. The letters are confusing. Sometimes it's not always an intent to levy or a final intent to levy. So you're not always as far in the collection process as you think. You're in the collection process. If you owe money, they're sending you letters, right? But the clock's not really ticking to a certain point where they send you the final notice of intent to levy, for example, before they're going to start actually trying to file a levy or garnish you. They have to give you a certain notice and certain letters, and so it's not always as bad as people think. Something, oh my God, they're about to do this, but they really haven't.
We've only got about 30 seconds left. Give everybody your phone number and your website address.
Okay, with Noble Tax Relief, NOBLETAXRELEIF.com, nobletaxrelief.com, or info@nobletaxrelief.com. And phone number, you can call us a toll-free 800-550-0733. That's 800-550-0733. Or just go to the webpage. You can fill out a form, and we'll contact you. Just give us your name, information. We'll contact you and make an appointment right away. Or call 800-550-0733.
Kevin's with us every month, and Kevin, thank you so much. You are the best, bro.
Thank you very much, Steve. Talk to you later.
And we'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.